Okay, what's up, guys? This is PM. I have a Uwe battle for you guys against this guy from Smogon, and I'm gonna be using a Sun team. He has a Rain team. I am at a disadvantage, but I think I can pull this off. So he's gonna lead off with the Glizzcore, right? I know I can take anything with my Donphan just because Donphan is a bro and it's a monster. So now that he is winning with his Glizzcore, I'm thinking he might want to fear the ice shard. So I do go for the Stealth Rocks as it brings in this Polytoad to set up his Rain, and I don't really know if this is defensive or offensive, so I think my switch to Ninetales will be kind of risky, even though it is going to be in the sun. I think a water move will do a lot of damage to that, so I do decide to go into my Porygon Z to take the Hydro Pump or Scald, but he just goes for the Ice Beam, predicting my Venusaur to come in. I would never do some sort of risky switch like that. So now I'm going to predict him to go out into his Jirachi just because I can easily wall with Porygon Z. So I do go out into that 55 Heather, which is my Ninetales. And now I know that his switch into Polytoad is a little obvious, so I do go for the Hypnosis, and luckily enough for me, it does end up hitting. And Hypnosis is not a terrible move to have on a Ninetales. I think it's kind of overlooked. Hypnosis is inaccurate, but sometimes it can really pay off, especially when you have a Dougie Fresh, this Doug Trio on your team. So I was hoping he would go out into his Jirachi or Tentacruel, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case. As it brings out this Tornadus, I'm just going to go out into my Porygon Z. I could have gone out into my Ninetales, get that Hurricane to only 50% accuracy, but knowing my luck, he probably would hit all of them anyway, so I decided to go into my Porygon Z. I traced the Prankster, which means that even if he gets a crit, it will not kill me, so pretty much it's kind of stupid for him to say, and so I thought he might switch out into his Jirachi, so I go for the Thunderbolt over the Ice Beam, but he brings out the Glizzcore. I'm just like, that was such a risky play, so I think he might want to do a double switch out into his Jirachi here to take the Ice Beam. So I go out into my Ninetales, right? As he goes for Stealth Rocks. Hold up. Glizzcore used Stealth Rocks, and it has Poison Heal. So obviously that thing is illegal. He didn't know that at the time of the battle. I did believe him, but he's not a noob. He's making a pretty okay plays for the first 2 or 3 minutes, so I decided to just go on with it, not really being like annoyed and saying, "Oh, I won by default." I'm not that kind of player. But I'm gonna go out into my Venusaur as he brings out the Tentacruel. I was hoping he would go out into his Jirachi, so I go for the Growth, but he makes a risky play once again and goes out into his Polytoad. I could have gone for the Energy Ball, taking that thing out, but I go for the Growth, and unfortunately I only get +1 in special attack just because it is raining and not in the sun. So I know he's going to go into his Jirachi because the grass move is pretty obvious, and I just want to gauge how much damage this Hidden Power Fire is going to do. I want to see how especially defensive is this Jirachi, and that Hidden Power Fire does a pretty pitiful amount of damage as it is in the rain, but I am +1 in special attack, so I thought it would do a little bit more than that. So now I know that this thing probably is max special defense, so I could decide to go into my Donphan. I can take anything from this Jirachi, barring like Water Pulse, which is kind of common, so it was kind of risky, but I thought that he wouldn't bring out the Jirachi if it was the Thunder Water Pulse set, as I decided to go for the Rapid Spin, Rapid Spinning those illegal Stealth Rocks away. So he goes out into his Tentacruel. I could have gone for the Earthquake, but the risk of him going for a Rain Boosted Scald was a bit too high, so I decided just to switch out. I want to be a little bit safe, as the risk was a little bit lower than the reward, and oh, sorry, the risk was a little bit higher than the reward. What am I talking about? Bam, I'm on that cash shift right now. But anyway, I go into my Porygon Z. I can take anything from this thing, as I go for the Recover, which is a little bit redundant because I have the Rain Dish, but who really gives a damn, as he does set up Toxic Spikes, which is kind of pointless just because I have that Venusaur, which can come in on any given moment, and whatever. I really can't judge this guy for doing that, but I go for the Thunderbolt, and that does a abysmal amount of damage. So that thing is obviously max special defense, which you don't really see nowadays. You usually see physically defensive Tentacruels, but I can't really judge this guy for running max special defense just because max special defense Tentacruels, you know, they're not too bad. I know you don't really see them nowadays, but I don't really think they're too terrible. But now I'm gonna predict a Scald, go into my uh Venusaur, as I actually get rid of the toxic spikes in that process, which is pretty awesome. You know, my weed, my marijuana, whatever you want to call it, my Venusaur is just awesome right now, as I am going to predict him to go out into his Jirachi. So I bring out my 55 heater, as he does make a switch, but unfortunately it's into his Tornadoes, which isn't terrible just because the Hurricane is only going to be 50%. But he does go for the Focus Splash, predicting my Porygon Z to come in, but that was kind of a weird play in itself, just because I could have taken a Focus Blast easily, as he does miss the Focus Blast, which does suck, but I do hit my Fire Blast, and I do get a crit, which mattered, but I probably could have taken 2 Focus Blasts regardless, just because I am very bulky, just looking at my HP. But he brings out the Politoed. He is going to stay in, which he probably should have pulled some sort of double switch. But now I'm going to pull a double switch of my own, just because I knew that he would probably go out into his Jirachi, because that thing can wall my Venusaur for days as long as it's in the rain. So I'm going to go into my Dougie Fresh, you know, fresh like Dougie, that Dougie. I don't know. Can you guys do the Dougie? You can leave a comment if you guys can do the Dougie, just because it's a fun dance, you know. And the bitches love it. I gotta be honest, the bitches love the Dougie. But I do go for the Earthquake. Obviously, this wasn't the best move, just because he could have paralyzed me and taken me out with an Iron Head. But he brought a Stealth Rock Gliscor, so I'm not really caring about the hacks right now. But the Earthquake is a 2-hit KO on Jirachi, and unfortunately, I didn't get the 1-hit KO. But fortunately enough for me, he didn't get the paralyzed. So yeah, down goes the Jirachi. So now he doesn't go into his Gliscor, and I cannot do anything against his Gliscor, so we'll go into my Donphan, Rollin', and you can leave a like if you know what Rollin' is. It's a song by Lil Wayne. It's decent, but now that he is with his Tentacool, I decided to go for the Earthquake, just because last time I got really mad. I got mad when he brought the Tentacool out, because I could have taken that Tentacool out before with the Earthquake. So I'm just like, you're not surviving this time, so I just go for the Earthquake and take out the Tentacool. So that's pretty awesome. And he brings out the ashy ass Negro, and he brings out the Toxicroak. He's gonna be the bulk up variant, but I'm just gonna go for the Earthquake, trying to get as much damage as possible. Toxicroak is pretty frail, but does pack a lot of HP. But regardless, that Earthquake does a lot of damage. Drain Punch won't do too much, and even if he had like Cross Chop, it really wouldn't be a big threat, as Drain Punch will not be enough for him to survive this Earthquake. That's because my Donphan has a lot of attack, and ironically enough, it has more attack than my my Doug Trio. So it's kind of sad, just because it has more attack than the Doug Trio, which is supposed to be my like offensive Pokemon, but it is a Donphan and it has a lot of power. But he is going to end up running, just because he thought that he would lose the game. He probably would, because I had so many Pokemon in my arsenal, and it is going to be the games. I hope you guys enjoyed this OU battle. This is PM, and lower tier stuff to come, and deuces, guys.